The answer to the question, is bronchitis contagious, is not a simple yes or no. It is a clear distinction between two completely different medical worlds happening inside your lungs. If you are suffering from acute bronchitis, which is that sudden nightmare with violent coughing fits, then the answer is yes. You are a mobile source of infection and you need to isolate yourself immediately. But if you are facing chronic bronchitis, which is a persistent cough lasting for months, usually related to smoking or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, then the answer is no. You cannot pass that chronic inflammation to someone else through a handshake or a breath. Today, I will take you deep into every corner of this disease. We will dissect the invisible transmission mechanisms that the naked eye cannot see. And most importantly, I will show you how to defend yourself based on the most authentic medical evidence from the Mayo Clinic, the CDC, and the American Lung Association. We are not just talking about symptoms, we are talking about controlling your life and protecting your family. Let us start with the real culprit, acute bronchitis. Imagine your bronchial system is like an old, upside-down oak tree, with the windpipe as the trunk and the bronchi as the large branches spreading into both lungs. In acute bronchitis, these branches become swollen, inflamed, red, and flooded with mucus. What is the cause? According to statistics from the American Academy of Family Physicians, 90 to 95% of these cases are caused by viruses. Please remember this number, 95%. That means almost all cases of acute bronchitis are the descendants of upper respiratory infections like the common cold or the flu. The most common invaders include rhinovirus, the guy who causes the common cold, influenza viruses A and B, and specifically dangerous for older adults is RSV, or respiratory syncytial virus. When these viruses attack, they turn your bronchial lining into a battlefield. The immune system reacts by creating inflammation and mucus to trap the enemy, and the cough is the body's sweeping mechanism to kick that mess out. Because the cause is a virus, it spreads extremely powerfully. In contrast, let us look at chronic bronchitis. This is not a surprise attack, but a slow destruction. Imagine the lining inside your lungs is like a smooth velvet carpet with millions of tiny hairs called cilia. Their job is to sweep dust and dirt out. In people with chronic bronchitis, usually due to long-term smoking, inhaling occupational toxic dust, or air pollution, this carpet has been scorched. The cilia are paralyzed or completely destroyed. The inflammation here is the body's reaction to the constant irritation of toxic smoke, not because of a dancing virus. Therefore, you cannot transmit your smoke-damaged lungs to the person sitting next to you. However, it should be noted that a person with chronic bronchitis can still get an acute viral infection on top of it, and at that moment, they become a source of infection again. Now let us go deep into the mechanism of the invisible enemy, or how acute bronchitis spreads. You need to understand exactly how the enemy moves to stop it. There are two main highways that viruses use to travel from one person to another. The first way is droplet transmission. This is the most direct route. When a sick person coughs, sneezes, or even just talks passionately, they are launching thousands of microscopic particles filled with viruses. According to fluid dynamic studies, a sneeze can push these droplets as far as 2 meters or 6 feet with a velocity of up to 160 kilometers per hour. If you stand within this firing range, the droplets will directly access the mucous membranes of your eyes, nose, or mouth. It is like being hit by an invisible mist of paint. The second way, which is more dangerous because it is silent, is fomite transmission or surface transmission. Do you know how tough the virus causing bronchitis is? Research published on PubMed Central indicates that respiratory syncytial virus can survive on hard, non-porous surfaces like doorknobs, tabletops, and stair railings for 3 to 30 hours. On soft surfaces like tissues or clothes, they survive shorter, under 1 hour. But imagine this scenario: a sick person coughs into their hand, then opens the door to walk out. You walk in right after, grab the doorknob, and then accidentally touch your eye or adjust your glasses. Boom, the virus has found a new home. This is exactly why I always tell my patients that your hands are the fastest bridge for transporting disease. So, when are you most contagious? This is the golden question to protect your family. Many people mistakenly believe that you only spread the disease when you are coughing loudly. That is wrong. In reality, the incubation period, which is the time from when the virus enters until you have the first symptom, is usually 2 to 4 days for most respiratory viruses. In the late stage of this incubation period, even though you have not coughed yet, the virus has started to multiply and you are already slightly contagious. However, the golden time of spreading is the first 2 to 3 days when symptoms start aggressively. At this time, the viral load in your body hits its peak. You cough the most, you sneeze the most, which means you are broadcasting a massive amount of virus into the environment. For influenza or the flu, you can spread the disease from 1 day before having symptoms and lasting up to 5 to 7 days after that. For RSV, the contagious period can last from 3 to 8 days, especially if you are a person with a weakened immune system or a young child. Your body clears the virus slower, meaning you can still be a source of infection for 3 to 4 weeks. Here is an interesting but annoying fact. The cough of bronchitis can last on average from 2 to 3 weeks, and there are even cases lasting up to 4 weeks even though the virus has been completely destroyed. Why? Because your airways are still damaged and hyperreactive in this post-infectious dry cough phase. Even though you cough a lot, your ability to infect others has dropped significantly or is zero because the virus is dead and what remains is just the battlefield being cleaned up. We need to talk about symptoms so you do not confuse it with other deadly diseases like pneumonia or heart failure. The classic symptom of acute bronchitis is cough. Initially, it is a dry cough, but after a few days, it will turn into a productive cough with phlegm. The phlegm can be clear, white, yellow, or green. Let us pause here for a moment. Many patients, and even some doctors, believe in an old medical myth that says green phlegm means bacterial infection, and you need antibiotics. This is completely false. The green color of phlegm is actually due to enzymes like myeloperoxidase released from dead white blood cells in the fight against the virus, not a sure sign of bacteria. So do not look at the color of your phlegm and rush to take antibiotics. Besides coughing, you will feel chest tightness due to the diaphragm and intercostal muscles, overworking, fatigue, mild fever, and sometimes wheezing. Sounds like wind whistling through a narrow crack, which is a sign that the airways are narrowing due to inflammation. So how do you distinguish bronchitis from pneumonia? This is a life or death boundary. Bronchitis is limited to the large airways. Pneumonia is when the infection spreads deep into the tiny air sacs called alveoli, where oxygen exchange happens. You need to suspect pneumonia and go to the emergency room immediately if you have a very high fever, over 38.5 degrees Celsius, accompanied by shaking chills, true difficulty breathing, where you feel like you cannot get enough air into your lungs, not just a stuffy nose, chest pain that stabs when breathing deep, or in older adults, the sign might just be confusion or a sudden change in mental state. Doctors will use a stethoscope to listen to the lungs. If they hear crackles, which sound like hair being rubbed together at the base of the lungs, that is a sign of fluid in the air sacs, which means pneumonia. At that point, a chest X-ray is mandatory. Now let us discuss treatment. This is where many disastrous mistakes happen in public health. I want to be clear and firm. Antibiotics do not cure acute bronchitis caused by viruses. Remember the number: 90 to 95% of causes are viruses. Antibiotics only kill bacteria. They are useless against viruses. Taking antibiotics when you have viral bronchitis is like using a screwdriver to hammer a nail. It is the completely wrong tool. Not only does it not help you recover faster. As studies show, antibiotics only shorten the cough duration by about half a day, which is a negligible benefit, but abusing antibiotics also leads to side effects like diarrhea, allergies, and most dangerously, creating superbugs that are resistant to drugs. When you truly need antibiotics for a case of pneumonia or blood infection later, they might not work anymore. The US CDC and current treatment guidelines strongly recommend avoiding routine antibiotics for acute bronchitis in healthy people. So when are antibiotics needed? Only in very specific cases. If the doctor confirms you are infected with Bordetella pertussis, which causes whooping cough, or you are an older adult with many underlying conditions, a weakened immune system, a patient having an acute exacerbation of COPD, or suspicion of bacterial superinfection after a viral episode lasts too long, specifically over 10 to 14 days where the clinical picture gets worse. So if you do not use antibiotics, what should you do? Our strategy is supportive care and active waiting. Treat your body like a soldier, and your mission is to provide weapons and logistics for it. First, rest. This is not empty advice. Rest helps the body divert all energy from movement to producing antibodies to kill the virus. Second, hydration. Drink water. Imagine the phlegm in your lungs is like sticky glue. If the body lacks water, the glue becomes thick and hard to expel. Drinking enough water thins this layer of glue, helping the cilia system push it out easier. Third, humidify the air. A cool mist humidifier in the bedroom is a great lifesaver. Dry air irritates the mucous membranes more. Humidity soothes the airways. Fourth, fever and pain reducers. Acetaminophen or ibuprofen to help you feel more comfortable and reduce chest pain from coughing. Fifth, cough medicine. Be careful. Coughing is a protective reflex to expel phlegm. If you use a cough suppressant that is too strong, you are trapping the phlegm and virus inside the lungs. Only use cough suppressants at night to sleep, but during the day, let the body do its job. Honey is a wonderful natural remedy that has been proven to be as effective as Western medicine in reducing night cough in children and adults. Next is a vital issue, prevention of spread. If you are the sick person, your responsibility is not to turn yourself into a virus distributor. Rule number 1, stay at home. Isolate yourself when you are in the phase of most coughing and fever. Do not try to go to work or church, only to infect the whole community. Rule number 2, respiratory hygiene. Cough into your elbow, not into your hand. If you use a tissue, throw it immediately into a covered trash can. Rule number 3, wash your hands, not a quick rinse. Wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds, enough time to sing the happy birthday song twice. Soap breaks the lipid shell of the virus, literally destroying it. If you are not sick, especially if you are an older adult over 65, you need to build a defense shield. Number 1, vaccines. This is the most important armor. Get a flu shot every year. Influenza virus is the leading cause of severe bronchitis complications and pneumonia. Also, get the pneumococcal vaccine and COVID-19 vaccine as directed. Recently, we have an RSV vaccine for older adults, so ask your doctor about it. Number 2, stay away from smoke. Smoking or inhaling secondhand smoke paralyzes the cilia system in your lungs, opening the door wide to invite viruses in. Quitting smoking is the single most effective action to protect your lungs. Number 3, wear a mask. If you are forced to go to crowded places during flu season, a medical mask is an effective physical barrier. Finally, I want to talk about complications. Do not be subjective. Acute bronchitis usually resolves on its own, but for older adults, people with diabetes, heart failure, or COPD, it can be a stepping stone leading to pneumonia, acute respiratory failure, or triggering an acute exacerbation of chronic diseases. Statistics show that bronchitis and respiratory complications are one of the leading causes of hospitalization in people over 65. If you find yourself having more difficulty breathing than usual, your lips or fingernails turn blue, fever does not break, or you cough up blood, do not hesitate. Call emergency services or go to the emergency room immediately. To sum up, acute bronchitis is contagious and spreads very fast through respiratory routes and contact. Chronic bronchitis is not contagious but is a sign of long-term lung damage. Knowledge is power. Understanding the disease correctly helps you avoid abusing antibiotics, know how to take care of yourself, and, most importantly, protect your loved ones around you from spreading infection. Do not let a common cold turn into a disaster for your lungs. Drink plenty of water, rest, wash your hands, and listen to your body. I am your partner in health, bringing you the truth about wellness. No sugarcoating, just solutions. Breathe deep and stay healthy.